Siasa Fiesta here on Morning Prime. We continue pace with the conversation. We want to look keenly on now the rising matters right now that we know of Uhuru Kenyatta's pending pension remittance that has not been remitted by the government as it stands, which raised some few questions. Also, some of the civil servants who are not receiving their pensions right now, even the new employees, their statutory deductions are not being remitted as well. Is the government in a financial pickle, so to speak, that we don't have these remittances, right? And what does it portend for the current also civil servants who are yet to retire? There has been a debate to raise this particular age group to revise it to 55, or should they go back to 65, since there will be no pension dues to actually pay the retirees? This is a pertinent question that we need to discuss, and also we'll be looking at the House of Cards within UDA, officials developing what is the latest as well. Dr. Nyikala, we'd raised these questions. I want you just to pick up on that briefly and tell us what is really happening currently. And you'd raised also the question of members of parliament who also are not currently there, but you serve within 5 years. Why would you be entitled for a pension if your term has only been a one term? For 5 years, then the rest of your life, you're pensionable.
You see, there are two issues here. One, let's look at the law as is, and then the implementation of that law. We can go into the reasons why you made it this and that, but once it is made the law, it's made a law. So let's take the case of the president. I don't understand. What I actually see is this is just basically incompetence. And in this case, with the issue of the president, I think it is politics also interfering with the administration. And in this government, there's so much of that where you can see that political considerations are actually interfering with the delivery of services. If the president has retired, and that law was passed, I think it was passed in the last parliament or before that, that those are what the president is due to. Once he has left and is now the former president, he is entitled to that. Why would you have a problem with, like we were saying, the issue of cars? He's using the cars that he used to use as a president. Administratively, the moment he has handed over, the cars he had at that time no longer belong to it. They reverted to State House straight away. And it will be a matter of time that he gets the cars that are now assigned to him, and those ones go back to where they were. So I don't know why. He's dues, he should get it. Now, if you want to, what I'm saying it's also just general incompetence, is that you found it with teachers, many people who retire, then it takes a very long time before they get their retirement benefits, their pensions, and so on. I think those are issues of just poor management, period. Because there's nothing in law, nothing that is stopping them. But on this one, I think there's a tinge of politics in it that is going with it. And in my mind, it probably links even what is going on in the politics. I hope the president is not continuing to see the former president in a political light. Maybe that's because when Limuru 3 came, there was this thing of happy, and he was made now the leader, so to speak, or the spokesman of the mountain. So this may be playing it, but my view is I would rather that that is done according to the law. I don't even think I watched some discussion, I think it was on Citizen or one of the media, where somebody was asking, why can't the former president just take a phone and call the president? He need not. Once government structures and be put in place, institutions in put in place, this is how it is done. There are officers who should do it. It should just move automatically. So if this is not happening, can we say it is the officers that are not doing it? I don't think so, because this is not in the usual run of the bigger civil service. This is actually being managed by the controller of State House. And how many presidents have retired? So that you'd say it is it is an administrative problem, administrative delays. This, you have just one office that you deal with, and considering the amounts that are involved in relation to what the bigger budget is, even of State House itself. I was seeing here that probably they needed some 51 million, but as you yourself said, there's money put aside 1 billion for innovation of a building that actually, looking from outside, looks pretty good. And this is just one office that you put the money, you send it there, and they manage it, they give you the returns and so on. So I think we are mixing politics with management. The paying pension into the president or to other people is part of service delivery. So if there is incompetency, that is bad. If politics interfering, is that. I'm saying that because I'm seeing very many other areas in my mind where I think politics is interfering with management or interfering with the effectiveness of civil servants. Look at the university education. Why is it having a problem after, in principle, we had agreed on how to fund it? I'm very worried about the health services, social health insurance, the way people are talking politically. I saw the minister talking how it is going to be done, how you are going to assess these people who are indigent, how you are going to register. It, particularly people in formal employment. Can you put in your mind how massive the job of assessing people as to what they should pay if they're not in regular employment? And some people may be in regular employment that they still have some other incomes. So I think I can't believe that there's a technical problem, because to a large extent what changes in government is just the top level, the level of the PS, and probably the level of the minister. The director onwards to a large extent remains intact. But what I know, that level is very sensitive to politics. They put their ears on the ground, they listen, they watch behavior. If they think this is what the top wants, they do it that way, or they don't let it happen. So I think in terms of the president's, the former president's dues, give in. If there are other political issues, deal with those. That's my take on it.
Right. Dan Salunga, sir, will you tell us, is there any rhyme or reason then why we should be renovating State House and you're not paying the statutory deduction to the former president, or maybe just statutory deductions to civil servants as it is demanded by the law? And are you aware, as we've just seen it also from our top stories, that 370 Kenyans will be fired because of not having any conducive business environment in the country, financial constraints, the expense of operating in the country. What is working in this country?
A lot is working, and most of the times, I want to tell you, those CEOs who are saying they will fire people, most of the times it's a threat, okay? Because so long as you're, I'm in business myself, so long as you're making money, so long as you're in the cycle that this time it's going to be low, this time we're expecting high returns, you will still be there. Many people also look at the impact in that sector of business in terms of the taxation. If it's something you can keep up with, you still remain. And I don't think someone can, I don't think even that figure.
Well, you don't say it's
I'm telling you, I'm in business. I also believe you are. Has anyone come to tell you, ask, even those statistics, those are things that I think sometimes people bandy statistics to serve their purposes. Business people will remain in business if there's money to be made. Because if they don't, what do they do? You get what I mean? So I think we should separate issues. And I like some of the submissions which have been before the Finance Act. Someone tells you, don't tax us 2.5 for the cars. Maybe 1 is reasonable. 1% is reasonable. Whatever, But let us balance it. So if it's a tax involving an area, you can't say, when you tax this, we are going to close. And then you don't give an alternative proposal. I don't think that's the way we should run this country. People should come with different ideas. My idea can be wrong. Your idea can be better. We all own this country. Let's find a way to push forward, because without that, then we are not moving in the right direction. But to answer the question of State House allocating some money for reconstruction as opposed to paying pensions, you need to understand the whole budget-making process. People present envelopes. The whole government structure is such that maybe the security sector will present its envelope. The health sector and related would present its envelope. Everybody presents their wish lists. The wish list is then weighed against the availability, and then they go to defend this. And then they have so the budget-making process is such that you can succeed as police because of the security or the situation that is there in getting more cars, and I fail as education sector in getting what I wanted because maybe there are threats of security in the country. You can succeed in getting what you want because you are better negotiators and all these factors. So at the end of it, that whole process, yes, it's the budget of the president, but it's a big process that starts last year. And even when we pass, if this budget passes, as soon as it is, another cycle starts. So everybody needs to be aware that some two, the issues can be totally unrelated, and the processes are totally different. And because I'm speaking like this, I'm not saying that I personally agree that we should renovate State House, yeah, as opposed to paying pension and what. But I'm educating the Kenyans who are listening to me that the processes are such that you can reach a situation where the police get their vehicles and the health sector doesn't get their vehicles, because the processes are such that you end up in sometimes awkward situations. So the budget-making process itself, you can't say because the police got and the teachers didn't get a rise, then, Ruto doesn't like teachers. It's not right. It's just that the way the whole process went, maybe because they had to give money for us in Tana River, they had to cut it from somewhere. They had to give money to Nyando.
But we're not talking about wish lists. We're not talking about wish lists. We're talking about what is in the Constitution.
No.
That is my lordly right. I've retired, I'm expecting my dues. So it's not a matter of that there's a wish list and the envelope are presented. This has already been done.
I'm trying to tell you.
It is very embarrassing to see, the former head of state coming to plead for his money.
I'll come to that. But I want to understand, because we are not talking amongst ourselves. There are Kenyans who are listening to us, and some of them have questions. And those questions need to be answered by them understanding the processes, The processes are not as easy as we want, as easy as you want, okay? Sometimes you may find the manufacturing sector has lost. Sometimes the agricultural sector has lost. And it goes like that. So from where I sit, I'm asking Kenyans to understand that the process of budget making is something. If you want something done next year, you should start engaging this year. You don't wait for the results next year. You should start now. As a sector, get organized and start lobbying now. Having said that, let me come now to the question of Uhuru Kenyatta, our former president, and the demands he made yesterday. Now, I happen to head the Pan-African Parliament delegation for Kenya. So when we go for sessions, as we should soon go, we have these interactions with many members of parliament, and you get to hear what is happening across Africa. Now, I sit in the finance committee. The chairman of finance, Honorable Mohamed Muntaka, is from Ghana. And for whatever reason, we were discussing something to do with how former presidents behave and how, according to him, and the debate that we were having on that particular, how their experience as Ghana. So he says the current president, Nano Addo, is a very different person from John Mahama, whom he succeeded. Okay? And he says that the John Mahama and previous presidents had this thing of being difficult with the former president because they would come from different political parties. Okay? So he was telling us, irrespective of the political party or the side where you come from, the current president of Ghana, he said that we must put an end to this. That, previously, you lose, security is taken away, staff is stopped, your protection and whatever you are used to is taken away from you in Ghana. So Honorable Mohamed Muntaka was telling us that the current president said, we must stop this, and I have to be the one to, and people are not happy. His MPs were not happy that he's treating the other guy he defeated so nicely. He returned the security, he did all the facilitation that is supposed. And in Ghana, they don't really have a very strong law like we have. But they have still provisions for pension and stuff like that. Now, previously, there were those games. So, as a head of delegation from Kenya for Pan-African Parliament, I would say we have a lot to learn from what they are doing in Ghana today. Because for them, the current president said, those games of the past, somebody must put an end to it. And he did. So he defeated John Mahama, former president. He's the current boss, and things are very different from what John Mahama himself did when he was the president of Ghana against the defeated people. So what I'm saying is this. For me, personally, I think it is, bread and butter issues should not come out in public. As men, even as men, just as men, if we have issues to do with our family, our children, and whatever, we discuss these privately. We don't come out, even if we are in opposition or in different parties. As men, there are limits. Like even my opponents, there are certain courtesies I would never deny them because we are colleagues. And if I was in a responsible position where I can help my colleague whom we have been in contest and the people didn't choose him, I'll be the first person to help because that is me. And I don't know about other people, but I believe that is how we should be. Every person who is your colleague, irrespective of, and the colleagues here means you contested or you are equal, you played football together, you did whatever, and you are now in a better position than them. Help where you can, because that is the correct thing to do. So coming back now to the position that it is also not a nice thing for a head of state, a president, to come out and say, you have not paid me. It's not nice. For me, it's sitting on a very uncomfortable, even culturally. Leader shouldn't come out to wash his dirty linen in public. There must be a way that can be done. It can be done in a way that we don't have to be exposed to it. And honestly, I was traveling, and I see this this picture of somebody coming to make demands. of billions of shillings, you know, of millions of shillings, hundreds of millions, and the person making the demand, my God, I'm coming from a camp where people don't have food, they don't have water. They are telling her we don't have medicine. We've just done massive distribution of food. We are looking at what we can do with the children. Then I'm seeing a very nice lady standing behind the Kenyan flag telling us they don't have 1.1 billion. I mean, it's not nice. You know, sincerely, it's not nice. And it speaks to the inequalities in this nation. The law there, the morality of it also, the timing of it also. I think there are some things for me, and Kenyans, many Kenyans listening to me, who will agree with me that the timing of this is off, that talking about matters like this in public is off, and that there must be a better way of pushing for these things. Even if you feel very strongly about it, better you file it in court so that they see there's pressure. When it's in court, then people take it maybe if you feel that they are not. But I'm sure you are capable of paying for some of these things as you push for your rights quietly, so that you don't come out saying, I don't have tea, I don't have bread. And we all know.
He's been doing it for 2 years.
No, let me finish. According to me, there are many unpaid bills in this country. So many. And let me finish. Those many bills, if I was a president, for example, there is what comes to my mind straight away, and they have even gone to court. Political parties haven't been paid. Yeah, teachers, I don't know what, doctors and what. If I was a president and I'm sitting here and I have 1.1 billion, I wouldn't pay the former president 1.1 billion. I'd make sure his office is running. I'd make sure his salary is paid and the basics are going on. But I will want to deal with wage bill issues of people who really feel it when they don't get the amount. So for me, from where I am, I think it's a very uncomfortable discussion. And from where I am, I feel there are things that can be resolved in a different way. And I wish that we don't bring politics into this, so that we always treat our retirees with respect, irrespective of whether they are presidents or whatever. I believe that some of these things shouldn't be handled in the manner they have been handled. And I wish former president would find another way of dealing with this, because we are in a very sad situation in Tana River County, and we would have preferred to hear something else. All the money to come. That
you have to come to us.
Yeah, to come to us. We have a trouble now.
Right. Let me hear from Honorable Newton. So do you actually hold with the view that is being espoused here? First of all, the fact that if he becomes the president, we understand what he will do. He'll give priorities to areas that he deems to maybe hold higher priorities than others, and he will deny you your right as far as pension is concerned in this particular case. So he says that the president has not acted in the wisest of fashion in presenting himself before the public gallery to actually air his frustrations that he's not been paid. For the last 2 years, he's kept silent. Now he's coming to the fore to do it. And if you are also saying that teachers have not been paid, we're looking also, look at the front page of the Business Daily today. Pensions, bills, nightmares, as state allocates zero budget. Zero budget. And yet we have a task force. Didn't we have a task? We do have a task force, isn't it?
Yes.
That is looking into the pending bills and what should be paid and what not. It's amounting to around 1 billion shillings, 100 and something billion shillings, so to speak. I don't get the correct figure as it stands. So where is the money going? You're not paying the pending bills, you're not paying teachers, you're not paying doctors, you're not paying civil servants who've retired. We are not seeing anything moving, no needle going a jot anywhere. This is what we are asking. You're not even paying the former president. That's the epitome of now.
So we should pay 1.1 billion.
No. That's what we're asking. I'm just asking, where is this money going? How about you?
The money
what do you think?
is working. It's just
The money is working.
It's working. Is this not?
No, we've gotten loans. Goodies are coming, but we can't see nothing moving. That's the question we're asking.
Well, thank you, Adibal. And I think we all live in this country, and we know the financial constraints that the government find itself in, especially because there are huge debts that have to be serviced. And there are many things that need to be done. Dibal, you know, over the last 1 or so years, the government has employed about 56,000 teachers in order to be able to address the shortage of teachers in schools. You know, recently there was a doctor strike, and there was that agitation for, you know, that the CBA that had been signed several years back be implemented. And this calls for money. Of course, there are monies that the government has to pay the doctors. So I think there are very many competing interests for an otherwise smaller cake. So I think it's just a matter of balancing. And I think I would want to say that delay is not denial. I don't think that if, for example, the retired president has not been paid his dues, I think I've not heard the government spokesperson saying that the bills will not be paid. So I think there could be delays here and there, but I agree with my colleague Senator Mungatana that there could be a better way of asking for this. I want to believe that.
So would you care to tell us what is a better way? Because you're saying the better
way would be maybe for the sitting president and the former president to have a conversation,
Honorable Nyikala has just alluded to the fact
that they'll get the time.
You need to know. He doesn't need to make even a call. I mean, that's stipulated.
No. What happens
stipulated
is,
in the law.
Why I say that?
Follow the rule of law.
Why we are having this debate, Dibal, because something that was supposed to be done legally has not been done.
Yes.
So that is why then it needs an engagement at that other level. So it is true, and I agree with Honorable Nyikal, that ideally the former president should not even talk about this. It should be done automatically. But now that it has not been done, then the best thing to do would be for the two leaders to engage. I mean, if, for example, if I need something from your house, for example, as a head of the family, and it's not forthcoming.
With all due respect, out of deference, you know where we're coming from between the former president and the president, don't you?
I do.
Yes.
And
do they see eye to eye?
Why would they not? I think it's everybody knows there is no. In fact, the two are not enemies. I think they were just competitors. They had some political differences. That does not mean there is enmity. And I want to say here that the sitting president I don't think the retired president is a threat to the sitting president. Why would they not talk? Because Dibal.
That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Do you think in any way also politically there is a sort of a payback on the atrocities, the frustrations that the former deputy president, who was then William Ruto, suffered within that particular regime of Uhuru Kenyatta, that this is a payback time? So now is the current, or the former president is bearing the brunt of.
I don't think the sitting president is that vengeant. I don't think there is any vengeance that he's pursuing. I think it's just a difference, and I like the argument that all of us have, that there are people, also teachers, that have not been paid their dues. There are civil servants who have retired and have not been paid their dues, but. I think I want to be I want to be very categorical. I am one of those that believe that the former president should receive his dues, that the office, that his office should be facilitated by the state as per the law. I think what needs to be done is, we look and try to establish the real cause of the problem, why he has not been paid. And I think I heard the government spokesperson saying that, especially because of his office, that the president, the former president, would rather, it is his preference, that he occupies an office that is housed in his property, and the government spokesperson has said that he thinks there is a conflict of interest in his words, because the former president then would be a landlord who is also a tenant. But then I listened to Kanza Edena last evening, who also has a very good argument, and she was saying that, the office that the government has offered to the former president at Nyari was the preference of the former president, the late Mwai Kibaki. So Kanza Dena says the former president, President Uhuru, would rather have his office in his own premises, which I think is something that that government can grant. I think it's just a matter of negotiation. So that the two these two arguments are brought on the table. What do you think, former president? What do you think if you occupy your own an office in your own premises, and then taxpayers are paying you for it? Then the former president explains, just like Kanza Dena was saying, the office that you want to give me was not my preference. And so I think it's something that an agreement can be reached, because government will still pay anyway for the office. And I think there are some things that, negotiation is about give and take. So I think the former president deserves his respect. The former president deserves his pay. The former president deserves a good office befitting of his status. But then, as Senator Mogatana is saying, when we talk about these obscene figures in public, then at this time especially, then we may send the wrong signals. So I insist that there should be a negotiation, an agreement should be reached. The former president should be made as comfortable as possible. This is somebody who served Kenya for 10 years. But then we also need to understand that we need to understand the financial situation that we find ourselves in, and that is why, Dibal, even alone, when you are not able to pay it, you can always renegotiate. So I think they can negotiate and say, we may not be able to pay these billion or hundreds of millions now, but we can have a payment plan. That is why even with workers we have a CBA. We agree. Yes, we agree that you deserve this pay, but then let us come up with a modality to pay this. So I think there needs to be some conversation, so that the former president does not feel like he's being, that there is spite against him. And then we also address the financial constraints that we have and see what can be done. If you can be able to persuade the former president to take the office in Nyari, then if you persuade him, then it will be good. If he insists on his office, his premises, then we can agree. Or ask him, then get another office that is not in your premises.
All right, let's hear from John Mazo. I thought maybe also from the UDA side, they'll have come with all hanged on the premise that, we inherited an empty coffer. So how does also the former president expect to be paid from the coffers that they raided? It is empty. This has been the argument that has been bandied around from the Kenya Kwanza administration at the end of the day.
It's true, isn't it?
So maybe they will have latched on that. It will make any sense. I don't know. But what do you think? First of all,
that story of empty coffers was a lie. We all know how government collects revenue and how revenue is processed. And how the government works, and if anything had been stolen, it is traceable. You will easily know this money was moved here to this account, and you have the power to freeze it. You go to court and freeze it and return back the monies. You know, that's there. So there's no money which can be moved in this country, even for private individuals, and you cannot trace it. And anything is stolen, really, somebody should have been prosecuted by now. The government is too powerful when it comes to that. What is happening now is what we call malice aforethought. You are dealing with a president who is malicious, vengeful, and despite having been assisted himself by the former president, he wants to torture him. He wants to teach him a lesson. You give him a job to go and do on behalf of the government, then you don't pay him. You don't even facilitate him. He facilitates himself, and when he comes back, he expects, to be, a gentleman to be a gentleman. You've sent him to do work in the Congo. You have sent him to do work in South Sudan. You have sent him to do work in Addis Ababa. And then when he comes back, you don't want to reimburse him. In fact, you should have sent him, already, you should have taken care of all the expenses. And after all, the duties of a former president are funded, they are known, and they're supposed to be implemented. So I think this malice should stop. The country has enough monies. It's all that the money is being misapplied, misappropriated, misused. And there must be goodwill, even to former leaders. What Ruto is forgetting is that he will soon be a former president. And he must do to others what expects to be done to him. Otherwise, I think that if this is the trend and this is the precedence, he should be put in the category of the retired teachers and our retired civil servants. They have waited for 11 years. I mean, after 60, how do you keep somebody up to 71 before you get their dues? And even when they get their dues, there are so many complaints. They say the money has been slashed. It becomes an argument at that age, and you are a senior citizen. And at the same time, you are trying to give money to those who don't work at all and are at 70, even never worked for anybody. Probably they drank changa and wasted their youth. And when they refuse to take their children to school. And when they get to 70, they are waiting for money from the government.
You understand?
Because now you are old age. And somebody who has worked so hard for the success of the nation, who has the goodwill, when their day comes, you want to be malicious. I think it is wrong. At a first instant, I thought, the way my friend Bogatana was thinking. But then I said, this is a man who has been pushed into a corner. I mean, you are expected to do certain things. And there's certain courtesies which should be extended, even if you differ politically. I want to say that the political seat and political power belong to the people of Kenya. And this is what the current government has forgotten. All these finance bills and public participation in this country is nonsense. That finance bill would never be changed from where it started to where it is ending. Even all these Kenyans who are treated into drama, all that yesterday, all that they have said, including carrying bread to public participation, will not be taken account of, because it is a dictatorship. They will just dictate, they will come and dictate parliament, and in fact, where the revolution begins, it must begin in our minds. Kenyans must now check their member of parliament. If the member of parliament has become a betrayer, he has been bribed, he has received some money to vote against the people who voted for him, please vote these members of parliament out. That's where the revolution begins. Because the injustice begins from State House, comes to parliament, and goes to the people. This is a government intentionally mistreating its people, from the poorest person to a former president. It's not a kind government. It is harsh. It has, the spirit of the Lord has left them. That's why they are treating people like this.
I don't know whether I can have a comeback on that.
The spirit of the Lord or of the law?
The spirit of the law and the spirit of the Lord has left them. And that's why it has ended up in confusion. It is a government which is confused. from day to day, the way they run their activities, you don't see goodwill. So there must be goodwill to the smallest Kenyan in Tana River and in Makueni, to a former president of the republic. Because all these people have served the nation and they need equal treatment, they need fairness, they need justice. You cannot have a country run on corruption, a country run on bribery, a country run on vengeance, a country run on bad faith. There must be good faith. And what, you know, comes from our mouth must be the real act. You don't speak good words, but the action is negative. So, and then we rearrange the nation. Why should we renovate the state houses now? Why you should renovate even the deputy president's office and a house with such a huge amount of money? Yet you cannot fly him, you know, under state protection to
Can I say something?
To finish, I want to say Rigathi must be very
You're really
careful.
agitating.
Rigathi must be very
I
careful.
want to come in, but
Let him finish first. Right, Dr. Rigathi, I wanted just to ask a question, especially now that we can see there's no budgetary allocation for the pending bills. So what is the reason behind, again, of forming up a pension, a pending bills verification committee? Why are we paying them?
You know,
Why are they doing all this work? Then you don't allocate any money to pay these pending bills.
I'll repeat myself because I repeat myself on this program many times. What I'm seeing in the country today is total inability to split politics from service delivery. You see, when you want to please people about pending bills, you put up a team, you put them on TV, they talk, but nothing happened in the work they do.
To raise up hope?
To raise up hope.
That
So
something is working.
politically, it works. People feel like something is being done. But in reality, nothing is being done. So me, I don't really stretch my head too much when I've realized that people are now playing politics, but they're now going to deliver. Because as I've said, I can mention many things where I can see it. So that what seems to take precedence since the election is, again, we are in a campaign mode, we are pleasing people. You can please people during elections because the moment you are elected, or by whatever means, you change status, now that process of election is gone. When now you want to deliver it, you must do things that are done on facts, on figures, and now you bring technical people in to do things. If you keep using politics, using people who talk nicely in the media, people will be happy for some time, like it has happened to us. If you look at the infrastructure or whatever assessment people are being done, our reputation, all arms of government, unfortunately including even parliament, is actually going down because we are talking and not doing. So when you see, like you're saying, we have this now, we have the public participation. To me, I've seen it, and I hope that when the report comes, we will not use the usual game it's in parliament, where the report is presented in the morning and it is being discussed in the afternoon, which means people have not even had time to look at it. Now, again, that is again pleasing the people. There was public participation and taking parliament for granted. You don't give them time to read, you expect them to talk. Then we'll now start, even before I'll look at the content, I'm looking at the content of the finance bill. But I'm going to look at the content of the report if it in any way bears semblance to what people have been saying. I will see goodwill on that in the first instance. Okay, we will expect some amendments that will be proposed by the committee in relation to what the people have been saying. If you see that, you say, yeah, there is some goodwill here. But if you see that there have been all that, and when you look at the amendments, if you look at the observations and the recommendations, then you don't see, then you know, you are talking politics, you are pleasing people on TV. So to me, many of these things, even if you come to this thing of paying the former president. Okay, my colleagues are saying that you should, the former president should talk with his colleague, the president. Once you allow that or expect that, you have made the whole thing political. Because if it is administrative, then you know the person who would be blaming now, the controller of State House. We would leave the president out of it. But the moment you say the president should talk, the former president should talk to his colleague, now it's political. Now it's in the political arena. These are things. And if we want to say that we are taking priority, if you are in power or in a position of authority and you want to take priority, you indicate priority by your own actions. How you look at the budget that affect you, how you conduct your affairs, the expenses relating to your activities. If that does not show prudence and respect for scarcity of resources, then you cannot expect another person to be told that now, you will be prudent. Now, if you are saying it is the way you ask, what is worse? Somebody refusing to pay or neglecting to pay, or somebody who is asking you have not paid, who has committed the bigger offense? Again, we are going by what it looks to the public. I'm really concerned about this thing of what it looks to the public. To me, I want, how does it affect the public?
Fantastic.
Not what it looks to the public.
All right, let's leave it at that. We shall circle back with Danson Mugatana, right, after he's cooled down a bit. I need to bring the fun now so that, yeah.
In the mind now, planes are disappearing.
We take a short break. You're watching Siasa Fiesta here on Morning Prime with more on the other side of the break.